Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, I'm going to be planting this Miss Lemon Abelia from the Southern Living Plant Collection. This is one of my favorite plants in the Southern Living Plant Collection. Miss Lemon is a low-growing, kind of a dome-shaped evergreen shrub. It has beautiful variegated foliage year-round. So just a great pop of color in almost any space. I'm going to be actually planting 3 of them here. I only have 1 today, but this one is going here. This actually was my compost pile for years. So this spot is a pretty good soil compared to the rest of my yard, so I'm not going to do any amending. You could use some pine bark soil conditioner or some compost, whatever's available to you, to mix in with it. Abelia are extremely forgiving. These are very industrial plants. In the South, you'll see Abelias used, green foliage and variegated foliage Abelias used in parking lot spaces and really kind of tough conditions. This plant really does well in full sun. I get a lot of questions from people in zone 8 and zone 9. You know, will it really take my sun? Well, Abelias will, for sure. But I have a Miss Lemon Abelia that I planted in a video over a year ago in a very shady space in my front yard. And it's really thriving. It's doing fantastic. It's a lot of sun in the winter time. The tree drops its leaves. It's on the south side of my house, but it's actually under a tree during the spring, summer, and fall, and it's doing great. And it's a really showy, really showy over there. The spot I'm putting this one in is going to be quite a bit more sunny. These will only reach about 3 to 4. I've already dug this hole here. These will only reach about 3 to 4 feet in width, and probably only 2 to 3 feet in height, and can be kept smaller than that. If you want to keep it 2 feet tall and 3 feet wide, you can. I pulled this one out. It really doesn't need a lot of attention here on the roots. It's not very root bound, but if it was, I'd break this up very thoroughly. I'm going to set him in this hole and have it stick up above the original grade just a little bit, so it's raised up just a hair, and kick this loose soil in. Like I say, this is one of the rare spots I can dig in my yard where I don't have to amend and I don't really have to think about it all that much. Abelia, Miss Lemon blooms pretty much all summer long with small white flowers, which this one has started to now. On the variegated foliage varieties of Abelia, the flowers don't show up all that well. They're white flowers against a very light foliage, so it's not necessarily going to be the showiest part of this plant. They do attract pollinators, one of my favorite things about Abelias. But I planted 4 Edward Goucher Abelias over here behind where the camera is sitting last year in a very shady space. And they're also thriving in the shade. I saw this in downtown Raleigh in a planting under some oaks a year or so ago. That these Abelias will take quite a bit more shade as long as it's in a bright space. My 2 shaded spaces are very bright. My house is light colored. It's near a light colored sidewalk and a driveway, and so it's bright. You know, it's shady, but it's bright, and I think that's helping them over there. But you can see this plant just instantly adds color to any space. This is a great foundation plant. Really, how can you miss? It's going to get 3 feet tall and a little wider than tall. You're rarely ever going to have to prune it. If you do prune these, it would be done in the late winter. They bloom on new growth. So if you prune them in the late winter, all the new growth that comes from that pruning, which I had pruned this one lightly, will terminate with flowers throughout the summer. And it can be fertilized at the exact same time. So really almost no maintenance. Once a year fertilizing, once a year pruning. If it gets a little bigger than you want sometime in the summer, you can go in and shear it again. It'll probably flush back out and start blooming again if you do that. But I'll give you a close-up of this and those other Abelia that are in my yard. So here's my Edward Goucher Abelia, and you can see it has kind of a pinkish flower on it, and it stands out quite well against the dark green. But these are, like I say, these are also in quite a bit of shade over here, and they're doing very well. This one will get pretty big. Miss Lemon is a dwarf, and it can be kept under 3 feet. These Edward Goucher Abelia can get 6 feet or more. Okay. Here's the Miss Lemon Abelia that I planted last year that's in so much shade here. I don't see any signs that this one's going to flower. It just has, you know, not showing any indication that it wants to flower in the shade, but it is a great little bright evergreen piece in this shady spot. These Abelia are super drought tolerant. deer resistant and insect and disease resistant as well. They just don't really give you any trouble, and they offer so much in for pollinators and for year-round color. Miss Lemon is hardy in zones 6 to 9, so quite a few of you watching this can grow this plant. And what a great pop of color, and it looks like this year-round, which is what's really amazing about it. Here are the white flowers on it. A really beautiful plant. If you have a spot on a full sun foundation, or even a foundation spot that gets about a half a day sun or more, this is such a great little plant to plant in that space. Again, I'm going to plant 2 more of them here beside it, and I'm going to have to water this in really, really well. Abelia are incredibly drought tolerant once they're established, but I'm in a situation right now where we have gone from flooding to very, very dry quickly. So I'm planting it in the early summer here. I'm going to water it in really, really well, and then I'm going to check on it every few days and find a pattern. And I'm probably going to have to continue to irrigate it. If I'm finding that I am irrigating it just constantly, and I'm having to water it constantly, and it's constantly in a wilt, I may come in here and take off a few of these flowers and some of this new growth just to take out some of the water use for it while it gets established in the ground. So thank you very much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for upcoming content.